Hello and welcome to another BITREP TNG, that is to say a battle report of Warhammer 40,000 10th edition, brought to you by Best in Faction: The Next Generation. I'm Tyler.
What's up? It's Lucas.
And we are bringing it to you hot and fresh with some Genestealer cult content and also
Cal Space Marines, baby.
Woo! Bringing on some of the top contenders of the meta as of late. CSM have been making an absolute splash, and people have been wanting to see GSC on the table for a minute, particularly because we got some interesting rulings. So we're gonna see. We'll talk about what we're doing in a second here. But before we jump into any of this, make sure that you go on down on south and hit the like button, subscribe, join the
stuff.
Yeah, all that
join
stuff.
The Discord.
We're going to be making a ton of these going forward. These are meant to be really quick, rapid fire. You can see the timestamp. We're going to do a whole game in like less than an hour. So be ready for that. Let's get some tactics. But first off, lists. Lucas, tell us about Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, so in this list, you're going to see today I have Abaddon. He's riding solo. I've got a Chaos Lord, Undivided Mark. We've got 10 Nurgle Cultists and Nurgle Rhino, 10 Undivided Chosen to go with that Lord. Two solo Forge Fiends, one's Nurgle, one's Undivided, 4 Obliterators who are Undivided, 10 5 and 5 Slaanesh Warp Talons, 2 squads of 3 Nurglings, and Mr. Changeling himself.
So this is kind of something of an intermediary, you'd say, between like the all gun just kill and the Liam VSL style double chosen rhinos. What's the thought process on this list here?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of like try to bridge the gap a little bit, still have the insane punch that Abaddon can bring, and also his really critical reroll hit aura. Bubbling up around that is really nasty. But also, and still have all the guns that usually accompany Abaddon, but then also try to throw in some Chosen and the Lord and see how they do.
Makes sense. Is that your Abaddon though over there?
It is my Abaddon.
Hell yeah, dude. Looking sexy.
Looking hot.
Sweet. Let's jumping over to the GSC. We got a couple of rulings from the WTC recently that are also being used at GW events. So like this isn't some WTC only thing. It's just how the game seems to be being played these days. That really change fundamentally how GSC work. We're not even using all of them in here because we got some since we filmed this, which is nonsense. But anyway, the two things that were ruled that we think were interesting are one-use only weapons, such as demo charges, when fired from inside of a transport using firing deck, because the transport fires them, not the inhabitants actually firing them, they don't count as having been expended. And also, bombas come back on the regen, so you get your demolition charges back if you get to Cult Ambush back onto the table, which is nonsense. Also, there's this really cool intermediary rule there where if you deep strike next to a transport, you count as having finished a normal move. So you're wholly within 3 and you finish a normal move, you can embark. So you can like deep strike into a transport, which is real wonky. So all in all, like the Goliath truck seemed like a thing worth trying out. So that's what we're doing here. The list itself, we got a Biophagus with Alien Cunning for Infiltrate. We got a Nexos. We got 3 Primuses, 2 Reductuses, one of which is the Warlord, not that matters. 2 squads of 10 Acolytes with demo charges, 3 squads of 20 Neophytes with seismic cannons and grenade launchers, the aforementioned Goliath truck, 10 Aberrants, and a Ridge Runner with a Mortar and a Survey Auger. So basically, you're kind of run-of-the-mill GSC stuff. You just cram in a truck. In my case, from what I normally run, this meant upgrading a Ridge Runner, basically, and also picking up an extra Reductus to put in said truck. And I did that by cutting my usual 10-man Neophyte squad. We'll see how well it works.
Nice.
Sweet. So we're going to jump on over to the game now and make that full screen.
Video gaming, let's go.
Indeed. So starting off over here, we are playing, let's start with the mission for a sec. We're doing sweeping engagement. Mm-hmm. So the DZs are like that. What's the primary?
Take and hold. So hold 1, hold 2, hold 3 for 5, 10, 15 respectively.
Easy enough. And then funny mission rule?
Is secret intel, which means if you're using tactical cards, you draw an extra one and discard one at the beginning of your turn automatically. So it just gives you, pumps you through the tactical deck a lot faster.
Definitely. Keeps you from getting card screwed too hard. Kind of a fun one. We're doing this particularly, we wanted to try out this mission rule because it's being used a couple times over the weekend at Cali Cup, which is a tournament that I'm going to this weekend. Very excited about that. So wanted to give it a try. We'll talk more about what we think about it at the end. Mm-hmm. Walk us through your deployment here, Lucas. What's going on?
Yeah, so I mostly just don't want to get super nice. Amazing. So I just mostly, GSC don't usually have a lot on the board. So my only real thing I need to do is make sure I don't get clobbered by these aberrants coming in this way. And so to that end, I've kind of stood some guys in front of Abaddon and my gun units to make sure they don't get killed. And then I've kind of spread out and just tried to threaten multiple approaches. So my Rhino's going to go chill over here, and my Forge Fiend's going to go mess around on this objective for a while. So yeah, just trying to put threat everywhere and make sure that Tyler picks these aberrants up. Otherwise, I can shoot them by getting within 12.
Totally. What's in Deep Strike off the table?
I've got 5 Warp Talons in Deep Strike, and I think I have 3 Nurglings in Deep Strike as well. Everything else is on the table, other than the 10 chosen that are inside the Rhino over on the right side of the table. Makes
total sense to me. Over here, we got some classic GSC deployment still in the movement trays because they're not going to be there for long. The Aberrants show up here. I'm the defender. I throw them down immediately, and that means that Lucas doesn't get to put Nurglings blocking off the center too much, which is nice. And also it forces him to respect that. If I don't put the Aberrants out at all, he can just line up and up Abaddon and forward blitz on the line, blitz straight forward and say, what are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. And I really don't want that. We got 20 Neophytes with both the Primus and the Nexos chilling over here. They're almost definitely going to get picked up. The only reason that they're there for the time being is to get me to that half my army on the board. The truck is right here. This one's kind of an interesting one. We're playing on a GW layout 3. Yeah, I'm playing layout 3, by the way. The truck over here is kind of a weird one. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pull it or leave it. I kind of went back and forth. We'll see what happens in just a sec. But in that truck is 1 bomb squad and both Reductuses. We're going whole ham here. But yeah, let's get this pajama party started. So I end up deciding, screw it. Let's pull everything off the board except the Ridge Runner because Primus redeploys are silly, and we'll get going.
The car.
Yeah, I'm going to scout
first. Let's go.
No.
That's what I wanted. Time to run at him like a maniac. That's what you do when you go first against GSE. You just get as much primary as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
So, my cards for turn 1 that I drew were Area Denial, Engage, and Behind Enemy Lines.
Wow.
And I ditched Behind Enemy Lines because that's going to be impossible, and I should be able to get a 3 on Engage, 5 on Area Denial. So a nice, solid start of 8 for secondaries. And I'm just trying to set up to, Tyler only has 1 model on the board. So I really think I should be able to get a 15 on primary here, which is what I want to do. So I've got my Nurglings pushing up a little bit to screen. Rhino's going to go hide behind that wall. People are just generally running up as fast as they can to threaten as much as possible. And I'll be getting a 15. And then also very importantly, we'll be stickying cultists, Chaos Space Marine cultists at the sticky rule. So next command phase, I'll be sticking that middle objective, which will be really nice.
So annoying.
And I'm just getting my guns to a place where they can, be threatening next turn, more or less. I want to turn on Abaddon's real hits aura and then just threaten Overwatch in as many different angles as possible.
Yeah. For anyone asking in the comments, the Changeling is standing over here. He's the thing actually holding that objective, getting Lucas that 15. Yep. We know that Nurglings are OC0.
Yep.
But yeah,
cool. There's my Forge Fiend coming around the bend. He'll be, I definitely... Anyway, we'll see what happens with him later on in the game. There's some interesting stuff, let's just say. So, honestly, pretty solid start. What are your secondary cards on turn 1?
Cool. So turn 1, I'm going to draw Extend Battle Lines, Investigate Signals, and No Prisoners. Woo.
How did you get a 2 on No Prisoners?
We'll get there.
Oh, yes.
You know what's happening. So this car, honestly, really should have been over here. He's just as safe behind this wall as he is behind that wall, or even in here, because this still blocks because it's a separate piece of terrain. To then go back and do this investigate signal, totally a mistake on my part to not be thinking ahead with regard to that. I just wanted him over here so he could potentially step back and tow the objective later. But
you dumbass.
Yep. Terrible mistake. So he's not in range to investigate signal. He just advances backwards, tries his hardest to keep a toe on that objective so that if Lucas doesn't full commit to me, I get a 5, and sort of force him back, force him in. He's coming in anyway, but I got to try to score points in some way. I don't even know what I ditched. I assume I ditched Extend Battle Lines because that's mathematically impossible.
Yeah, presumably. Although it would be plausible next turn. I don't know.
Given the way that you're setting up and how good you are at screening deep strikes,
unfortunately, the puck on this one is in the middle of the wall, which is the biggest bummer imaginable.
I think that's not supposed to happen. I think that's because we have RLs on the very edge of the bases, and GW doesn't.
So what you're saying is this game result is invalid.
No, this game result is exceptionally valid. What's invalid is your abilities to make a table.
Okay. Y'all let you set it up next time.
Oh, no, don't worry. I'll set it up exactly the same way.
Nice.
But
cool.
yeah.
Well, that was a glorious turn.
Amazing
one,
GSC.
Where I ran at you and you ran away.
Classic GSC turn 1, dude.
Now I'm just deciding how much I want to try to kill this Ridge Runner, because it is your only source of +1 AP here other than the strat. So like trying to kill it does have some value. So I'm just kind of like, it's iffy charges all around. So I'm like, deciding whether or not to reroll the advance and charge with Slanesh. So here I am making the advance and charge, where I go in with my 10 talents, which is definitely not the best trade in the world. But if they end up killing that Ridge Runner and deny 5 in the primary, I think that's all I can really ask of them. And we do have the middle and my home objectives to keep at this point, which is really nice. And we're just kind of well set up to keep getting primary points. I got a 15, which is really nice. And my new secondaries are deploy Homer, extend lines, and defend stronghold. All of these are easily achievable. I'm going to ditch Stronghold, though, because I can get 5 on the other 2. I'm just trying to cram as many points as possible before Tyler starts stabling me. So I dropped the 3 Nurglings in his DZ to help screen. Since he only has 1 model, it's easy enough. And
Stronghold is also the one that is vaguely potentially dangerous, as opposed to any there's no counterplay to any of the other ones.
Yeah, so just get 5s.
Yeah.
So I pick up another 10, and with the 15 on primary, I'm off to a really solid point start.
So Lucas is setting up here. Lucas is very good at screening. There are not a lot of positions on this board outside of 9 to show up at all, is what he's measuring right here, making sure that there's nowhere great for that truck to show up out of strat reserve. There's nowhere easy to put things without 3-inch deep striking. I'm basically going to show up in my own DZ. He's checking right here. This is a super important tool. Please just ask your opponent to borrow their model to check if it fits. Mm-hmm. There's no reason to have that conversation in their movement phase. Have that conversation in your movement phase and pre-measure everything. Makes the game go way better, way easier, less arguments. Better for everyone involved.
Yep. So I'm leaving him a little space to slip in up here, but not with the truck. It'd be a unit that can come in there. And now we're not allowing him to come in here with the truck based on backing up around the wall there.
Totally.
And there's also some space down here. There's definitely spaces he can arrive outside of 9, but they're going to be far away from the game, hopefully.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's room for the truck down there. And even if there is room for the truck over here, wow, great use of a truck, dude. You also bring in the other 5 talents to just fully zone this area as much as possible. I think that's a really smart move. I was very annoyed when you did that. I was looking around, I was like, there's a space in here. I can see it. And then Lucas dropped the talons, and I was like, damn it.
Oh, talons, baby!
Anyway, it's ingress time, though, and a Lucas movement phase. You got to bring in the aberrants. Because if I don't bring the aberrants right frickin' now, they're never coming in.
Exactly.
So they're going to hop in. And what's nice is that truck here is less than 6 across. So and even it might even be less than 5 from some angles, but certainly if Lucas rolls a sufficient charge to have to base me, I am guaranteed to be within range to attempt a heroic intervention, which means that my aberrants could get into the game and do some damage immediately, and maybe even swing back that primary if it all goes just right.
Yep. Which is a big bummer. I should have probably seen this coming a little bit more. / not been as aggressive. The way I had landed, I had 3 models on the objective, which would have contested the primary anyway. So I could have just flat out decided to not charge, which does, kind of is a bummer in terms of the sunk cost fallacy of I've spent 2 CP now to reroll the advance and charge.
Yeah.
But I should have been more disciplined and realized that this is giving him an avenue back into I'm really in control of this game right now.
Yes.
This was giving him an avenue back into the game by getting his aberrants into combat and moving up the field where I would have to deal with them next turn. Whereas if they're, 8 inches further back, it's not a problem at all. So denying the primary was probably sufficient. I
think there's also an argument for just not letting me show up back here.
Put the
Nurglings all the way down.
I was super
here.
worried about you showing up here, but I guess that's not really a very important place.
Yeah, worst case, ingress aberrants here, don't get shot at, and then go
charge my Forge
Fiend and sit in combat with a Forge Fiend for 2 turns.
You with
while Abaddon goes and eats their butt. Yeah.
So
whatever the case, yeah.
6 remain.
The you managed to kill Ulrich at least. That would have been real bad if that hadn't happened at least.
Thankfully, my 10 talents killed the funny Ridge Runner.
Yeah, they did kill the Ridge Runner. The Aberrants did succeed on the heroic though, and it's time for the Aberrants to do aberrant related activities, dude.
We're gonna go bonk.
30 attacks, hitting on 3s, sustain 1 because we just arrived, and lethal because we have a Biophagus, wounding on 2s, AP 2, flat 3 damage. Get him out of here.
Bonk.
This is one of the only like actual melee units in the game right now, and I love them dearly. You can take them out of my cold dead hands, all you haters who say that I should cut them. Love that. Love that for them. They're great. Cool. And because we do wipe the whole squad, we'll even get the primary back, which is fan-freaking-tastic. We're going to not consult with the front guy there because he's within 4 of the other unit, but everyone else is good.
You should have brought me into combat.
No.
Coward.
Nope.
Thought you liked melee. Didn't you just say you liked melee?
I do. I love melee. Don't worry. I'm going to charge you. I like it when I fight. You're not allowed to fight. But
Poland doesn't like the aberrants. Poland thinks they're bad. Meissen thinks they're horrible.
How'd Meissen do into Sean?
He got raw dogged by the funny buggies.
I'll tell you, I played that matchup a lot of times. The aberrants help a lot. We did practice into that list, and it went way worse than it did for Sean for the GSC than it did with the aberrants. But
it turns out when you have literally no melee, people can play around that.
And also literally nothing that can stand somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a bummer when it's like, man, I'm going to stand in this one place with this one unit that I can make untargetable outside of 12.
Everyone else is just dying.
Yeah. Anyway, up here, this is probably the most important thing to do as a GSC player is to take time off your clock to do turn 2 correctly. Oh my God. Do I see people who are like, cool, show up. I don't want to waste any time. And admittedly, we didn't play this on a clock, but this game took substantially less than, I think this whole recording is 2 hours. But it is worth taking the time to evaluate all of your options, find all of the places that you can show up, consider each one of them, and make a decision accordingly. If you mess this up, you lose the game. Full stop. So I use these little red stones here. I know a lot of people like to use dice. You can even just use models, honestly, but that can get confusing. To test out your areas, I've got my laser here to check lines of sight. I really want to kill the Warp Talons. If I could end this turn with no Warp Talons left on the board, I would be a happy camper. Very happy camper.
I wanted you to show up here so
I bet you did.
I was like, my chosen are out of the game. Please give them a slingshot back into the game.
No, I refuse.
Please.
No.
Please.
No.
Please.
Can me.
Can you please do that?
I'll consider it.
Okay.
All right, I've considered it.
All right. Considered it, boys.
So that's a no-go. But we have that space is available. Obviously, the backspace where the aberrants showed up from is available. And then this top left spot is also available, as we discussed, not quite for a truck, but that's how it goes. So if I want to bring in the truck, I either bring him in the bottom left, and he does nothing for the rest of the game. I bring him in the middle spot, and he gets obliterated, and then everyone inside dies to chosen immediately. Mm-hmm. Or I keep him off the board for another turn. So we're going to go with that.
What you're going to do?
Yeah. Something that I end up going for in this game that I feel like I don't do. Every time I do this, I love that I did this. I very rarely regret this decision, which is the committing as softly as possible turn 2 as a GSC player and just holding back, especially into CSM or any army with a really low unit count, to just say, hey, cool, you're going to blow a bunch of stuff up here, but I'm going to kill all of your chaff, all of your screening, knock off a ton of units, and still have some of my heaviest hitters left to deal with your nonsense that I can't deal with. Mm-hmm. It works out real well. Talk to me about this setup right here and why this is such an unassailable situation for me right now.
Yeah, so any of those units, they're all, the Obliterators aren't nerfable, but, the Forge Fiend and Abaddon can both use the strat for don't shoot me within 12. And GSC basically do all their damage. The bomb squads do their damage at 6. And then the seismic cannons really want to be within 12 for extra shots. So if they're outside of 12, I'll Nurgle strat them. If they're inside of 12, it's very likely that I'll be able to see their gigantic footprint with any of my units. And with reroll to hit and exploding hits from pacts, you can kill. I think either one of those units has a real threat of wiping out a bomb squad on Overwatch, or basically deleting a neophyte squad. So the way I have it set up is Tyler will have to use his 3-inch deep strike to arrive on that middle objective. I think this is also the turn you drew, tempting target, which I tempted you in the middle with.
Yeah.
So you would have to 3-inch deep strike in the middle, or else you're basically not trying to crack that castle at all. Because there's not really anywhere you can land inside of 12 that is a 9-inch deep strike, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
When you're playing against a 3-inch deep strike army, at the end of the day, you have to just accept that they're going to be able to do what they want to with their 3-inch deep strike.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just making their other options as unappealing as possible. Because if you spend the whole game fretting about like trying to screen out their 3-inch, you're just gonna end up fucking yourself in the long term.
Yeah. And like what Lucas has done here is great, because I can't 3-inch at that unit.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if I wanted to, the place I want to show up is over here to shoot that way.
And there's the talons.
The talons are screening it. At best, if I really wanted to assail this, what I would do is I would put like a neophyte blob here, such that they can all see this and only this guy with the 8 important guns. But neophytes are so bad at killing obliterators because they're T7.
Yeah.
Like I have to put bombas into them, so the oblits are going to get it to chill for a minute. And it's just going to be what it is. Score update, those 2 points and no prisoners were scored at the bottom of my turn, off the heroic there, for those of y'all who were still wondering about that. And yeah, this turn I drew overwhelming force, engage on all fronts, and a tempting target. Lucas tempts me with the center, and I throw that out the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you have a deep strike, so engage should be nice and easy. With these 2 units you're putting in the corners. This is a bomb squad coming in at the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, bombs with a Primus.
Just to take out the rhino.
Yep.
Just may as well limit the mobility.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Funny Changeling has a dumb ability where he makes you either -1 to hit or no shoot, which is just the most random ability ever. So,
yes.
yeah.
So the thought process on arriving with the echoes is that it doesn't give Lucas a slingshot. If the chosen want to charge him, they have to charge backwards. They have to get further out of the game, which I love. If I can knock off the changeling, that would be hype. And if I can knock off the nurglings, that would be hype. Just minimizing Lucas's unit count. And once the chosen are no longer in their rhino, at any given moment, they are liable to get obliterated by a squad of neophytes. Mm-hmm. So I want that thing gone, and I want it gone immediately.
It also gets you overwhelming force.
Yes. Because you've got...
What's the other unit you kill on an objective?
The nurglings.
Oh, yeah, because you flame them.
I think so, yeah. Cool. So, as you can see, I have massively I have committed as little as is humanly possible here. I've set up seismics to go after the nurglings. I've set up grenade launchers to take pot shots at this guy, and then I'm going to raw dog a 9 at him, because that's what you do. As a GSC player, you take neophytes without characters, and you roll 9s. It's very important. And then I've set this 1 bomb squad over here, which means that my funny truck with the bomba squad and the 2 reductors is still off the board. Both of my neophyte squads with Primuses, one of which also is a Nexus, also off the board. So like the units that I care the most about cannot get hurt because they're not on the table. So we go in here. Lucas admittedly rolls the 6 on the changeling. So I cannot shoot here. We decide to retcon this essentially as this is better practice to accept the -1. Honestly, I think we kind of agreed. It doesn't change the game outcome a ton.
At all.
But yeah, something that you've got to acknowledge as a concern. Yeah. When you're practicing, it's up to you if you want to make those decisions and say, hey, that was a crazy thing that happened. Let's not have that happen and make this like not have to practice around that. Or you can say, hey, crazy stuff happens. Let's practice getting out of a crazy situation. At the time, this game was looking real sketch, so it felt like much better content to just say that he rolls a 2 up and I'm -1 to hit. Still managed to blow up the rhino through the -1 to hit because I go +1 ballistic skill 4 rolls to hit. And then the changeling just didn't care. He just tanked that like a mother trucker. The nurglings, however, did care quite a lot and got roasted toasted by the flimflams.
Bummer, dude.
So that's going well. Hilariously, it's time for a massive whiff. I'm like, 4 seismic cannons? That should obliterate a squad of 3 nurglings.
Impossible, dude.
GSC math is so... You live and die by 6s so hard. It is painful. But it's just the reality of the situation sometimes. The grenade launchers up here were too cute, I acknowledge. I probably should have just had these guys also down here, also shooting the nurglings.
Well, I think your 4 grenades got 5 hits on my Forge Fiend.
Oh, yeah, it did happen, didn't it? This guy has 1 dice next to him. He's on like 3 wounds, isn't he?
I was like, yeah, maybe should I -1 to hit? I'd only done like 1 hit. And then he's like 4, 4, 4, 6. I'm like, okay, sick.
Got him. Yeah, so never mind. Exactly as planned. It was a great decision.
That plan was generations in the making.
It really was, dude. Those grenade launchers had anti-forge fiend 4+, bro. Sweet. So the Aberrants obviously hit their charge into the 5-man Talon squad. That unit's dead. And the Neophytes hit their 9-inch charge into the Forge Fiend, which is sick. I consider trying to string out to see if I can do some damage here, but we realize that these guys can't really get closer to this guy while getting close enough to this guy to be able to engage. It was going to get real messy, and also I'd rather just be protected here. Here's where I make a massive mistake. I think that wrapping this Forge Fiend would be so funny if you had to make a desperate escape attempt to fall back. There's like no reason for that at all. I can engage this guy from behind the wall here and be entirely safe from anything short of Oblitz indirecting. And if you want to burn your Oblitz indirect on maybe killing 20 Neophytes, assuming you're within 12 of them, which like requires you to walk at them in the first, this is a massive mistake. But you know, we're trading questionable charges and pile-in positionings over here. So it is what it is. Obviously, this combat takes a million years to resolve, but nothing happens. So yeah, I end up getting a 5 on overwhelming force for killing the Rhino and the Nurglings, and I get a 3 on engage on all fronts for 1, 2, 3. That's the other benefit, like we just said, of putting the Neos or the Echoes over here. We get all of this done by dropping in 2 units that I am not super attached to, that I'm very happy to let die, especially because if those Bombas come back, they'll have bombs again. So go ahead, kill them, please.
Why is that even a ruling?
I don't know.
That should not exist.
It shouldn't.
You should not exist.
That seems excessive. WTC always says they're not here for balance to make balancing decisions, but it is very funny to me that suddenly GSC get knocked down 3 pegs and all of a sudden all the rulings are flipping into their favor. Next thing you know, we're going to be able to fucking regen dudes after deep striking. I don't know. Anyway, so what? Talk
another 15, loser. Nice primary.
You did get a back-to-back 15 here. There was no way to prevent
the Chad 30 primary in 2 turns. Don't worry, it's about to stop. I draw Secure No Man's Land, Overwhelming Force, and Cleanse. So unfortunately, I'm kind of like running out of units here. So I ditch Cleanse, keep Overwhelming Force, and Secure No Man's Land. And there's only 1 unit on objective. It's those Neophytes in the upper left. But if I can just kill them, then that's 3 points.
Also the Aberrants.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they're impossible to kill immediately. So, I'm close enough to the Aberrants that I can probably make it happen to charge them with Abaddon and his buddies. So I reroll the charge and advance in charge here. This is a turn where I definitely mismanage my CP a little bit. I have 4, so I kind of go into it thinking I've got a ton of CP, but I reroll that advance and advance in charge. All of a sudden, I only have 2 left. So it's already looking very sketchy, like very limited on the CP department.
Yeah.
I spent another one to heal that Forge Fiend for 3, so he didn't have to take a Battle Shock test. I don't really know why I did that. I think my thinking was I was going to fall back and shoot with him, but that's the same strat as the advance in charge for Slanesh, so I can't use that in 2 places. So it's one or the other, and that was just ended up being a wasted CP more or less. So definitely a big mistake, and that's going to come to bite me when we get to the fight phase here in a second. But yeah, just looking to limit Tyler's primary again. Goal is to hold him to a 5, realistically. If I can kill those Neophytes in the upper left, then I kind of have to assume he has his home field objective here, right? Like Abaddon and the Talons might do some work, but they're unlikely to like kill most of the squad. So it kind of is what it is. And then the Chosen are going to go kill the Balba squad. That's a given. There's no chance that they survive.
We got this, boys.
Definitely. I think this was also a turn where Abaddon tried to do his gain up a CP, and like that would have been a clutch fit CP, and he failed the 2 up, which was like so sad. So Sag. Nurgling goes and runs behind a corner, and I promptly forget about him for the rest of the game. And then the Forge Fiend in the middle also advanced, but then I realized that I kind of needed his guns, so he just like didn't advance instead and stood on the objective and backed up a little bit. So yeah, just going to hope to delete these funny Neophytes. And here's the car coming in.
Ingress time!
Vroom vroom.
Ingressing twice in a game feels so good. It felt better when I could use it in Nexus and do it twice in a turn. I'll take twice in a game. Cool. So the funny car's coming in. This is a phenomenal position for the funny car. I'm very excited about this. because he's going to give me access to those cultists and that sticky home field via the acolytes. Would love to go stand over there. I've got decent access to just rush up and throw a bunch of bombs at these oblits, and the Forge Fiend would be super hype. So we'll see how that goes. Lucas, you ended up deciding to shoot the car. Mm-hmm. You pop your indirect for that. What's the thought process there?
Well, I shoot the Nurgle Forge Fiend first, and he kills
18.
Yeah, down to only a few dudes.
2 dudes.
And then I figure, can't really invest any CP in this. So the Obliterators are going to hope to finish off at least one of those guys so that the Tyler doesn't get the primary over there. And then the other guys kind of have their pick of the litter because I'm popping the indirect to kill those last 2 guys behind the wall either way. So they can kind of shoot whatever they want to. So I decided to shoot one of them into the car. I shot 2 of them into the car. One was in melter range.
Yep.
Perhaps that was a little bit too conservative, but I really wanted to finish off that Neophyte squad. A, to figure out if they were going to be coming back, and B, just so they don't regrow models and be a headache over there for the rest of the game. So,
and I mean, it's serious primary, right? I am so far behind in the primary game right now. I'm going to need to come back big time in late, and anything you can do to stem that is huge money.
Yeah. And the 822 profile is really good, but it's D6 shots, and without blast, I very well could have, if I only shot 1 into them, I could have gotten 1 shot and missed.
Yep.
So I figured just be safe and allocate 2 over there, and then epic. And then the other 2 Obliterators go for the truck, and I think the one of the melted shots gets through and knocks it to 4 or something like that. Yes, that is exactly correct. And then unfortunately, what?
we fixed this so poorly. Anyway,
I'm sure we'll notice it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But and then Abaddon makes his charge, and the Talons unfortunately fail their 5-inch charge, so I have to use my last CP to reroll that, which means Abaddon won't have reroll hits and wounds in the fight phase. Sad. Which means not only he can't fish for 5s, but he also just will wound on 3s with no rerolls, which is super bad.
Would it have been worth it to just not reroll their charge?
Oh wait, Abaddon did have reroll hits because that was his aura this turn. Oops. Oh well. Yeah, I did think about not rerolling the charge, but I figured the Talons with reroll hits from Abaddon would have killed 2 or 3 of the dudes. But I think I did wounded exceptionally poorly with them.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer. Because strength 5 twin linked AP2 is wounding on 5s is kind of stinky, but it still should do good work in theory. When I get 140% hits. Anyway, goodbye, Bomba Squad. Rest in hell. I hate you guys.
They do come back, and we set up that blip all the way up here in the top corner. Hopefully that's still on screen for y'all.
And the Neophytes did not come back.
They did not. Tragic.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then here we are swinging away into the Aberrants. Yeah.
I just made... There's 8 out of 11 4-up Film of Pains.
Like I said, I wounded poorly, and then the fucking Film of Pains.
I'm making faces like you can see me. Let's go Aberrants.
And then 5 wounds from Abaddon. Sag. I think this first guy makes all his Film of Pains.
Yeah, baby.
So yeah, poor CP management in combination with just getting diced a little bit kind of unfortunately means that that fight just goes completely down the toilet, which is super bad. So yeah, I did what I needed to get my points, but I can definitely feel the tempo of the game slipping away from me here with the car in my backfield and just the Aberrants continuing to bamboozle me.
Bye-bye, Dawn.
Dawn, you go bye-bye. How did Dawn not kill 7 Aberrants? Sad.
I love that half the Aberrants are Abaddon, get obliterated, and the other half are we kill a Warp Talon.
Getting on 3s is funny.
It is indeed.
Okay, well, I got my points. I got 8 on secondaries, and I held you another 5, but here's where it kind of slips out of control. Because, you still have 40
Neophytes.
Oh, yeah, 40 Primus Neophytes in Deep Strike. So yeah. And Abaddon is dead. So, tempo is definitely in your favor here.
For sure. Point. So, let's see if we can capitalize on it and make the points happen, because that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm. Turn very much in the lead right now.
Turn 3, I get an interesting draw. I draw Area Denial, Defend, Stronghold, Capture Enemy Outpost. So, be here, be here, be here. Pick 2. Obviously, this is not happening. So, we pick these 2. Stronghold should be completely automatic here. And then enemy outpost is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What I should do right now, I don't even know what about shoulds. This was a hard decision. I could think about this for a while. I wasn't sure if I should get out and just send the acolytes here and say, forget the bombas. They're just going to go charge, kill that squad of cultists, and take the objective. They end up deciding not to because they want to get maximal bomba utility. So they're going to run up here. Obviously, you can see where the car is. The car is now within 6 of both of these. So like we're going to do some serious damage. Lucas is like, absolutely not. Overwatch and ends up killing the car.
By car.
Poor car.
Get hacked car.
So we don't even get to see the car do the car things this game, but we do get to see it be a human shield, which is nice.
Dude, I also tried to charge the car last turn, and I think I rolled.
Oh yeah, you did. That would have been real funny.
Sadness. So yeah, now they're gonna come out and they'll still get to throw their bombas.
Yeah, but only once.
Oh,
tragic.
The agony, the inhumanity, dude, of the only one bombas. You only get to use your one use weapons once.
It's incredibly
so
rude.
sad.
Especially on the Reductuses who hit on 2s. How dare I not get 2 throws out
It's
of
very
each
dumb that between the two of them, it's basically like a whole bomb squad.
It really is.
So dumb.
They don't get the rerolls though, which is a bummer. Those reroll ones to wound go a long way.
Sure.
Maybe for dudes and objectives, the acolytes, but
That's true.
I digress. But yeah, they do hit. And also like that one, it's easier to not get screwed by shot count on the 1 dice if you have a CP for it, as opposed to like, oh no, I rolled 4 1s. Cool, one of them's a 3 now. Like, But it is also way less effective than the blast. But you're not getting blast dual targets here. We're just going. So yes, they're going to show up there. And it takes me a while to realize this until Lucas reminds me. These acolytes are not eligible to charge. I set up most of this turn planning to charge with them to wipe the cultists, and that's just not legal.
Yep, they made a move in a vehicle.
Yep. But that's okay. We'll just raw dog 9s into them instead. Here come the neophytes. This right here, what you're about to see is like one of my absolute go-to textbook GSC deployment type situations here. The put all of the heavy weapons in a bundle on one end, shoot the crap out of something, have the other end and within the outside of 9. We're not going to 3-inch here. I'm pre-measuring it. We're not going to end up doing it. Don't worry, I'm not charging after 3-inching. And then launch charges in the other direction to get out of dodge and no longer be in danger, while also getting maximal utility out of those guns. Like this is, as a GSC player, like this is a maneuver you should be trying to pull off as often as possible. Because yeah, at this point, this entire quadrant does not exist to me.
Yeah.
I can go deal with them later. I don't have the resources to deal with them now.
They're not being very threatening.
They're not doing anything. Whereas these 2 idiots each kill like almost an entire neophyte squad each. Obviously, the aberrants, the obliterators, cannot be allowed to exist. We consider for a minute here going for this 3-inch deep strike with one of the neophyte squads, which would drop me to only 1 9-inch charge onto the cultist potentially, but it guarantees this objective. So I basically have to decide here, do I 3-inch, get that objective for sure, and then have 2 tries at a 9 to get the other objective? Or do I put more eggs in that basket and say, if I hit the 9 this way, I'm also going this way, so I'm getting the objective either way?
Because I think you have 1 CP right now. So it's if you use the 3, then you
then I only have
going
one
for
chance.
a single 9.
Single 9 versus 3 9s.
Versus 3 9s.
Yeah.
So going for 3 9s means you're going to end up on both of those objectives. So like, do you dramatically want to increase your chances of getting onto 2 objectives and get capture enemy outpost? Or do you want to guarantee getting on 1 objective? I mean, given that you were down in this game, I think you made the right call.
Yeah, I
which
agree.
is you got to try to swing for as many points as possible.
So,
5 points isn't going to cut the mustard. 18-point swing actually might get you back in the game.
Absolutely. So we'll see if we can make it happen here. Now we get to start shooting, which is the fun part. And we just do not relent.
Yeah, I think you kill literally everything I have in the middle of the table.
That's the plan.
There's like a 1 obliterator with 2 wounds left or something silly like that.
Yeah, which is why you end up getting a 10 on primary instead of a 5 here, which is, not an insignificant time to get a little bit of primary. Part of my plan for how I was going to deal with all this nonsense was I was like, oh, this is great. I'm just going to use my grenade strat a bunch, except that I can't do that because
your battle shock.
Battle shock because I got out of a transport. Damn. So slight inefficiency in target allocation there to leave that guy alive and let Lucas have that primary. But it's not the end of the world at the end of the day. The Forge Fiends are a bigger threat than the last singular Obliterator.
Any one of those could just like kill an entire one of your squads.
Totally.
For free.
Yeah.
I love Forge Fiends. They're so fan balanced.
They are neither of those things. It's crazy to me to remember what these things were like before the devastating wounds change. When it was like, oh, cool, you lose 60 neophytes.
Reroll the wound.
God.
So funny.
Anyway. So yeah, we're gonna get in there. We're gonna get some nonsense happening. The shooting phase is gonna take a minute. What do you think what's your, this situation is obviously not looking great. What are the levers you're thinking you're going to try to pull on here? What are you going to try to make happen?
Well, I mean, a lot of it hinges on these couple of charges, right? So if you land these charges, I definitely am in the mode of I just need to get as many points as possible because I have the points lead, so I just want to hang on to it.
Yep.
So if you land the charges, I am hard pivoting to just get as many points as I possibly can. If you fail the charges, I feel like I still have a shot of, although I don't have a lot of damage left, just kind of like walk away from the objectives and try to make it difficult for you to get onto them. Because every turn I can buy where you're not getting points is a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah, there's 2 full battle rounds of game left. Like there's a lot of stuff that can happen one way or the other.
Yeah, unfortunately, all I have left is like basically down here.
Yeah.
You're gonna wipe out this Forge Fiend, and the Obliterator is not long for the world. And then these Talons are obviously also dead at Aberrants. They might kill like another one, but whatever. And then the Cultist also, Tyler's not going to shoot him at all because he wants to charge them, obviously. So if the charge gets made, they'll probably get beat to death. And if they don't, then I'm like, okay, cool. I've got 10 Cultists, whatever. So yeah, it's really all about just trying to get as many points as I possibly can and just hunker down and try to eke out a win at this point. So yeah, we got the last of the guns coming in, and my Obliterator survives. Let's go! What a champion!
Bastard!
Can't grenade him.
I cannot.
You're
I
shocked,
to
dude.
so badly.
You're shocked by the force of
I have
chaos.
2 free grenades.
And there you go. Immediate minus charge.
Just nail it. Didn't even need the reroll.
All right. Surely the other squad will also
Yeah,
make their charge.
That'd be disrespectful if I made both of them without a reroll. Yeah.
That would basically just be not good for me.
Yeah, no, it would guarantee that capture me outpost over there without having to do anything funky about it.
So
make my life a lot easier.
Luckily, a 9-inch charge is it's pretty unlikely to make 2 9-inches on the first go, right?
Totally. Yeah, you would. That'd be incredibly unlikely.
So yeah, really unlikely. Oh, there we go. Or no.
No.
Maybe
no, I hit the charge. I think I just decided to charge a little bit differently because I wanted to make sure that I was getting enough guys on there.
I was like, wait, why is the homie piling in? There we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, here we are. I'm, at this point, I'm like, well, I need to get as many points as possible. One of the 5-6 cards I can draw remaining is Investigate Signals. So I'm trying to think about what casualties I can pull so that my cultists can grab the Investigate Signals next turn. It also has the added benefit of being able to pop that blip, which is pretty cool because I'll be with, if I'm with the 9 in the corner, then with the 9 of the blip that's in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hoping to draw Investigate, and that'll get me, considering how little of the board I have left, it'll be nice to get 4 points on Investigate Signals because I'll have the Chosen as well.
For sure. And I mean, it's pretty reasonable odds here with a draw of 3, with only 7 cards left in the deck at this point.
Yeah, I'll be able to draw 4 of them this turn, essentially.
Yeah, if you need to, you can pitch one for sure. Because yeah, you definitely want to get it now and not after I get another turn to shoot those idiots.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, neophytes come in, they punch some number of cultists. Lucas breaks coherency, kills a couple dudes. Enemy outpost captured. Feels pretty good.
What am I rolling? Oh, my talons.
Yeah.
Okay, 3. 4. Nice. 4 out of 40. Nice.
I made 3 out of 4 feel no pain.
Very cool. I love dice. I love Warhammer.
Such a fun game, dude. Here come the Aberrants. Aberrants. Let's go. Get him out of here.
Goodbye, Talons. All 20 Talons died to his idiot brigade.
Let's go. Love those guys. How many points are 20 Talons?
Why should... I'm not going to... You didn't even get your points back.
That's what I'm saying. 400. Are they 400? Because I'm 400, yeah.
Nice.
Fair trade.
Yeah, definitely.
I also did get Abaddon, though.
True.
He's a couple points, I hear.
310.
Aberrant's got 700 points.
Oh, I shouldn't have charged on turn 2.
Anyway, so yeah, sure enough, you go ahead and you draw your investigate signal.
Skill game.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're gonna be able to get the chosen to grab it in the bottom right because they advance and shoot all the time, so they'll have no problem getting there. And the singular cultist is gonna run over and say freeze to the 10 and acolytes with all their bombs that are shown over there, and they're gonna scuttle away, get back into the sewers, I guess.
See, I auto pass my cultist. I auto pass my cultist and I roll the obliterator, which was that dumb?
No, because it's stickied.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it didn't matter if the obliterator died.
Yeah,
hilarious.
Sticky
objectives from the cultist, baby. Let's go.
It's a really good strategy. If you're playing CSM, get your cultist into the center as soon as possible, and then get out.
Yeah,
like that bounce play is super good. Sweet.
Here's Change Man
trying desperately to believe that he can actually keep me off that objective. Your obliterator dies to his pack check.
Yes, of course it does. After failing to kill your Productus for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
It's a really cool reflection off my phone onto the lamp.
You're really cool.
Thanks, bro. All right, sweet. So bottom 5 here, I'm getting my second 15 in a row. And I am drawing Assassinate.
This is bottom of 4.
Well, bottom of 4 here, I'm getting my first 15. Spoiler alert.
Damn, dude. I wonder if he's going to get a 15 in the bottom of 5 when he owns the whole board.
So I'm going to bring it down, secure no man's land, and cleanse. And naturally, given that you have no monsters or vehicles, we're going to bring it down. And secure no man's land is automatic. We're going to cleanse with this big old blob of neophytes that's already on 2 objectives. Easy. You can cleanse your opponent's home field. I've seen a couple people who didn't know that. Just can't be in your DZ. So there's our cleanse, and then secure no man's also automatic. Got the Reductuses and the Akos walking up here, and obviously that squad as well. Nothing really crazy happening though, just kind of doing our thing. I then I pick up I pick up this green neophyte squad at the end of Lucas's turn. I don't pull the models yet because they're going to get set up in a second. So they drop in. They say Lucas gets no more primary. We'll stick the one guy 3 inches off because the position of the wall there, he can't keep you from doing that. So I'll take the objective from him.
So given the state of the game, now is when I should have called back that old favor of the 6 on the changeling.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have shot me. And then the last turn, I should have got assassinate. No prisoners. Thoughts?
But the changeling was dead before you could roll it.
From your that happens at the start of the shooting phase.
Oh, it's the battle shock that he couldn't do because I didn't shoot at him. Yeah, for sure. But yes, we drop in. This time he does not roll a 6. We would have definitely accepted it if he had. But he rolls not a 6, takes the minus 1 to hit. We kill him with the grenade strat and not with shooting because if you shoot at him, you have to take a battle shock check. And if I became shocked, that would suck.
That would suck.
So firing away, doing some good damage, knocking off half the chosen squad here. No need to do anything crazy. I totally could have picked up 2 of these, but then I don't get my 15. Yeah, because I just walked onto these objectives. So I needed to leave one of those squads down. And the quote-unquote bomber squad doesn't have any bombs anymore. So there was no reason to pick anyone else up but this green squad. So half the chosen squad gets to live for a minute. Sweet. And then
there's nothing really else going on here. I'm not going to get any primary points. You've killed most of my chosen and you'll be able to overwatch them.
Yeah.
So my last couple of missions are assassinate, bring it down, capture outpost, and no prisoners. My last chance to get points is to try to Hail Mary into that squad and maybe snipe a character or just muscle through the 20 guys. I think you keep no prisoners and assassinate because every character you kill a character that's worth 7 would be really cool. But yeah, I've got the Overwatch here to shut that down. You end up being battle shocked here, which is the big bummer. Yeah,
because it prevents you from being able to epic challenge out one of my characters.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously have unquestioned loyalty, but I've only got 1 CP as well. So I would have to decide if I'd rather Overwatch or loyalty. Now that he's battle shocked and can't even snipe a character, there's no question about it. We just Overwatch him. We kill most of the squad. Yeah.
Yep, and then in the last turn, obviously you got a 15. You'll draw cards that can get you a 10 behind enemy lines and Homer, which is you just pick up and put down, blah, 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 blah. And so the end score is 85 to 90.
Yeah,
Favor of the
11-9.
GSC.
Very good game, man.
GG, brother.
What a fun swing back and forth.
Definitely.
This is a really hard mental game to play as a GSC player, and this happens a lot with GSC. You have to acknowledge that when people have high pressure armies, it's gonna hurt for a minute. And rely on your fundamentals, pick your targets properly, pick what section of the board you don't have to worry about, and the section you do want to focus on. Pick things off at the ends. Deny on the points front, and then bring the hammer down as late as possible. We're shuffling through cards here, but yeah, overall good stuff, man.
Yeah, it was a really fun game.
Yeah. Anything you think you would have done differently if you were approached this again as a CSM player?
Mostly just be aware of like heroic intervention, right? There was no reason to like give you that avenue back into the game.
Totally.
Killing the Ridge Runner was super nice, but the 5 points on primary weren't worth it. Like if you just obviously there's a ton of cascading like decision trees of what happens if I don't charge those aberrants. But even just like assuming those 5 points of primary that are denied there would stay constant, then that would be a tie game instead. And then obviously like the CP mismanagement on turn 3, right? Like if I just be a little bit more judicious and save 4 real to hit and wound for Abaddon, he probably kills like 2 or 3 more aberrants potentially. At which point, maybe he doesn't get wiped out in that one go, and maybe your battle shock, something like that. But yeah, there we are. What about you? Any thoughts? Yeah, for sure. I think I needed a little bit more board presence. Like I was able to bounce back from the pressure, like you said, because you make that mistake with the charge there. I think that I need to keep a little bit more on the board. I think it would have been the aberrants probably could have just been deployed here and been safe because like that angle doesn't exist. So we could have just been there. And then if you want to throw stuff at me, aberrants get to countercharge them, which gets 95% of the job done that they ended up doing. There's also, I think, an argument for just having the truck out and about. But I don't hate that too much because that truck will eventually get indirected by, well, I guess it's kind of interesting because like you put the truck here and you threaten the end, and then if they want to come in close enough to indirect him, then the aberrants, I'd be curious to see how that works out. Definitely.
Though also now that we've got this additional ruling that seems to be going around that you can use pick up, put down through strategic reserves, even if you have the deep strike keyword turn 1, that really changes how I would approach this because suddenly I can actually hit you turn 1 and I'm not getting pressured at all. You got to make some scary decisions. Yeah. I'm very curious to see how that plays out as well. So
definitely
lots to think about, but yeah, overall a great game and a tight one. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the game, y'all. Hope you all enjoyed. We're going to have many more of this coming in the near future, so stay tuned. Yeah, if there's specific stuff that you want to see, matchups that you'd like to see you checked out, particularly if there are things that you know that we play, drop it down in the comments below. We know a lot of people who play a lot of armies. So I refuse to play orcs.
We'll make them play orcs. It's going to be great.
That's true. I will actually play orcs.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I've been Tyler.
It's Lucas.
And we'll see you next time on BITREP. Take care, everyone.
Goodbye, idiots.